Hello everyone, today I want to go over Isis. Now Isis right now is probably the best mage in the game right now. She's very good. She does a little bit of everything. She has pretty good damage. She has a lot of utility and she has a lot of CC. She's very good. If you haven't played her a lot, well, I hope this will change your mind and play Isis. Because your team will love you. First off, we're going to start with the build. Starting off the game, this is your basic start with mages. I'm going to get Vampiric Shroud because sustain. This will help you stay in lane, get you a little bit extra damage, a little extra health, and you'll get some health and mana back whenever you kill minions. It's pretty good. And then you'll either want to start with the Lost Artifact or Tiny Trinket, just depending on what you want to build into. I usually go Lost Artifact just for the extra mana regeneration, but Tiny Trinket could help some too. It gives you slightly more power, which will help you clear the wave easier. Either one of these are fine, just your personal preference. I mean, if you're not going to build into like Bancrest, Talon, or Divine Ruin or anything like that, then just don't get Tiny Trinket. Just go and get Lost Artifact. It just all depends what you're building into. And then lastly, just get potions. They're potions. You should always have potions. Alright, start off. I'll let you know that this build is in no particular order, unless I specifically say so, but these are just general items that are good for Isis, or somewhat decent on Isis. Start off with boots. You should, under most circumstances, I can't talk, build boots first, unless you're going to do more, which I don't think do more would be that great on Isis, but if you want to, you go for it. But I would just build boots for first. I like the cooldown reduction boots over power boots because Isis is a very good utility mage, and I don't know. I still feel she does enough damage, and I feel that the cooldown reduction early is very important on her. And which is why I like to, and you don't have to, because like I said, this is no particular order. I like to build a Chronos Pendant second, so I can just go and get max cooldown reduction. I can have all my abilities up quickly, and it can offer me a lot of utility. There's going to be a lot of fighting going on in mid, just because that's where the supports and junglers like to hang out a lot of the time, and plus you're always fighting over mid camps and that stuff. So get off more spells, especially since you got a silence and a stun. Or you have a silence, a slow, and a stun. That's just gonna help you get off more, and it can even help you secure some kills for either you or your team. Now the penetration item for choice for Isis is Spear of the Magus, just because of Wind Gust. Wind Gust are very good with Spear of the Magus. And yeah, Spear of the Magus, very good pin item. Then we're gonna go Raw to Hootie. This should always be built on mages for the most part, unless there's some circumstances if you're trying to do something a little strange, which can work, but for the most part you should always build Raw to Hootie. Should give you a lot of damage when you build it, and since it scales off your magical power, you should build it at the end of your build, or you should build it either 5th or 6th, because you're going to get a lot more out of Rod to Hootie. Because if you build it second, when you only have like boots up, you're not going to get much out of Rod to Hootie. I guess, well, you can build it more like 3rd or 4th if you go back to base with 3,300 gold just to go to buy it since it's expensive. But for the most part, you're going to want to wait to build Rod to Hootie. And then we got Bancrest Talon. Like I went over with Scylla, do not buy this for the lifesteal. Lifesteal on mages is very bad unless you're Anubis, or there's a couple exceptions, but Isis' lifesteal is not very good. All of her abilities are AoE, and so you're only going to get like 0.33% or something like that with a lifesteal. It's not very good, but You get 100 damage from Bancrest Talon, and you get an extra magic power for each percentage of your life missing. They give you a lot, and I mean a lot of magical power. That's pretty good. Pretty good item. It's not that expensive. And yeah. Next, we got Book of Thoth. Book of Thoth is a good damage item. I don't know if Book of Thoth is the best on Isis because she wants to be a little more utility based, just because of her kit. But Book of Thoth will give you a lot of extra mana, so you can cast your spell. It's gonna give you a lot of damage. It'll make your Spirit Ball do a lot of damage. And Book of Thoth, pretty good item. If you do want to get Book of Thoth, I would build it kind of near the end of your build, since the stacks on it are not that important. Not like other items like Warlock Sash and stuff like that, or Doom Orb. Yeah, because I think once you get Book of Thoths fully stacked, it's only like an extra 28 damage or something. That's not a whole lot. Yeah, Book of Thoth, still pretty good on him. It's definitely one of the highest magic damage items in the game. So you need some damage, just look for Book of Thoth. Now Divine Ruin. Divine Ruin is not a very good item that you should not build unless the enemy team has a lot of healing. Because the item and the stats it gives you might be bad, but the passive on it's actually pretty good. So they have like they have a Sylvanas and a Rob Mid and Guan Yu. That's a bunch of healing. So you probably want Divine Ruin. Plus their Hunter is going to have lifesteal of some kind. So that will slow down their lifesteal. Pretty good. Now, normally you would not build this in like more damage focused mages. But since Isis is more utility focused, Divine Ruin's not that bad on her. I would build this instead of the Bancrest, if you want to go that route and try to help your team out with stopping the lifesteal. Just don't get both Bancrest and Divine Ruin. Next, we're going to go Warlock Sash. Warlock Sash is pretty good on Isis because it's going to give you some extra health. And if you have extra health, you'll be able to stay alive longer, which means you can stay in the fight and keep using your spells to help your team out. Very good. The only downside is you need 100 stacks for it, and it could take quite a while to get it stacked up. You're going to be stuck in a lane for a while getting it stacked up, but once it's stacked up, it's very good. I would build a second after boots if you want it. If anything later than that, then just don't buy it. But a little bit later in the game, you decide you want health. Well, that's why there's Ethereal Staff. Ethereal Staff is like the light version of Warlock Sash. Still very good. It's going to give you about 600 health. That's a lot of health. It's going to convert a percentage of your health to damage. That's also good. And overall, it's slightly more expensive than Warlock Sash, but you don't have to get 100 stacks on it. You just get all the health and all the stats just as soon as you buy it. So Warlock Sash, if you want more health, get Warlock Sash early. If it's a little bit later in the game, just get Ethereal Staff. Now I have Breastplate in here as an alternative to Chronos Pendant if you want it. I've seen Kiki, from the mid player for AFK, get it maybe once or twice before. I still wouldn't suggest getting it because, well, he's a much better Isis player than most of us will ever be, and he plays Isis. He plays most of his mid mages very support heavy, but Breastplate's still not that bad of an item. Give you physical protection, which physical protection is very good in this game since. Okay, for those of y'all that don't know, physical protection will always be better than magical protection because towers, phoenixes, Titan, Gold Fury, and Fire Giant, they all do physical damage too. Magical damage is only going to give you the protection. Magical protection is only going to give you protection against other magic gods. They're not going to give you from anything against the objectives. Pretty good. If you're getting bullied a lot and you're having a rough time just staying alive, then breastplate could help you. I mean, your team's not looking for you a whole lot for the damage. They're mostly looking for you for the utility and the stuns stuff and your ultimate. Not saying Isis can't help the team out by doing damage, but you know. But yeah, I would not really suggest getting breastplate unless crazy circumstances. Hold on one second. Okay, sorry about that. Hopefully that wasn't too loud. Someone came knocking on my door. Anyway, breastplate. Just don't buy it unless you just absolutely need help staying alive. Fight. Just get Chrono Spin it. Then lastly, we got Jungle Isolation. It's actually pretty good on Isis. I don't know if it's the best thing on Isis, but the slow can definitely help. You do already have a slow though. That's why it's kind of iffy on Isis, but it'll give you some extra health. It's pretty good with your Regust, your 1. And I don't know. It's not that bad of an item. Probably not the best, but it's an option if you really want it. And that's about it for Isis's. About good items for Isis that I could think of off the top of my head. If I missed any, just let me know, and I'll try to add it in somewhere. Anyway, we're gonna go over her abilities now. Her passive is Funeral Rites. Basically, every death that she witnessed, she gains a stack to Funeral Rites. She can have up to 10, and each stack she gets additional health and mana regeneration. And that might not seem very good on her, but this is why she's a good utility. This is another reason why she's a good utility god, because that also affects your teammates. Your teammates will also get that health and mana regeneration. It's pretty good. It's not a whole lot that's gonna like completely change like team fights or anything, but it's definitely it's something. You can't really complain about extra health and mana regeneration. It's always gonna be helpful some way. We're gonna start with your 1. We got Wing Gust. You activate Wing Gust, you get increased movement speed. You get no backpedal penalty. You're gonna shoot 4 balls out. They move at pretty good speed. You're also immune to roots and knockbacks while you're channeling this ability. Now, this does pretty good damage, especially if you hit them all with it. You get a lot of extra movement speed, so it's not that bad for escaping with. The downside is though, this is gonna be your main form of clear, and if you're going to get someone that can stun you or silence you, once you start channeling this, they can just stun you out of it, and you're gonna lose a lot of wave clear. That's the biggest downfall to this ability. But other than that, this ability can clear waves very quickly and pretty early in the game, and it hurts a lot. It's got good range. You can potentially poke the enemy god with it. It's a very good ability. I would level this up first. And that leads us to our next ability, Spirit Ball. Spirit Ball is a very long range attack. It's a very slow moving attack, but it has a pretty wide area effect. The further ball it travels, it gains more power. And it also stuns when you detonate them. Now you gotta remember. Sorry, I was reading stuff. You gotta remember though that you can detonate it early just by pressing the ability button again. So you throw it out, and you can just whatever you want to detonate, just press it again, and it'll detonate. It'll stun them. It does a pretty good bit of damage. I've done a lot, and yeah. Very good, very good, very good ability. I'll level this up second. And this is one reason why you want to get max cooldown reduction. Because if you get the 40% cooldown reduction, this will only be on a 6-second cooldown. That's really good for having a stun on a 6-second cooldown. Now this ability can be a little hard to hit because the ball moves so slow, but it's pretty forgiving because it has a very wide area of effect. So. But if you do need some help hitting it, we do have Dispel Magic. Dispel Magic is to be the ability that you level up last, but it's gonna silence your opponent. You're gonna gain some magical protection from them, and you're gonna make them lose some magical protection. So it's pretty good to hit them with this before you kind of start your combo. But the main thing is it's gonna slow the enemy by 35%. So that just means it's gonna be much easier for you to hit your Spirit Ball. And they're going to lose, and since they're losing magic protection, the Spirit Ball is going to hit them really hard. You stun them, and then you hit them with the Wind Gust, and they're still going to get hit really hard. Speaking of, the biggest pro of this ability is if the enemy team has Magi's Blessing. At least, usually, for the most part, one guy on the enemy team is going to have Magi's Blessing in each game. Usually. Not all the time, but usually. If you hit them with this, it's going to get rid of the bubble. This is probably the best ability in the game for getting rid of Magi's Blessing. And, well, you get rid of it, then your team is free to do whatever they want to that person that has Magi's. A lot of people that buy Magi's are buying it because they do not want to be stunned. I mean, no one wants to get stunned, but someone like Fenrir or Serket or gods like that, they don't want to be stunned. Then, lastly, we have Circle of Protection, a super amazing ultimate. That's actually really good, and sadly, I don't see a lot of people don't really understand how to use this ability correctly. Now, obviously, this will plant her staff in the ground. It's going to form a huge AoE. It's going to last for 5 seconds. Any damage that you or your allies take in it are reduced by 15%. I almost said 50. That would be way too OP. By 15%, and any damage that's done by anybody that's standing in the circle is going to charge up the ultimate. And the more it gets charged up, the more damage it will do and healing it'll do when you detonate it. So when you detonate it, you can just press the button again to detonate it, or it'll just detonate after 5 seconds. And any enemies in it, it'll deal damage to them, and any allies in it, it'll heal. And this thing could easily, when you get it leveled up, easily at 4 charge, just hit someone for 1,000 damage. Hurts a lot. This is also a very powerful ability for taking objectives like Gold Fury and Fire Giant. You just put it down, they're not going to want to fight into you while you have this down. And you can just detonate this at any point. It's going to be a bunch of damage. They're not going to be one standing in it, and for sure Gold Fury and Fire Giant are not going to be one to stand in it. Yes, and that's going to be about it for Isis. Very powerful. She's probably the best god. Well, let's try this again. We can actually talk. She's probably the best mage right now in the game with the current meta, since mages are so... People love the utility-focused mages right now. And she fills that role very well. She has a lot of CC. Just a lot of utility. Very powerful. Go play her. She's very good. She's a lot of fun. I'm actually going to go start playing her some more right now. So, y'all have a good day. Hope this helps some. Let me know what god I should do next. And y'all have fun.